Welcome everybody. We are about to start our meeting at 4:16, Friday, August 11. Roll call. You wanna
Yes.
do us a favor?
Okay. Mr. Jose Zuniga?
Present.
Mr. Juan Gonzalez?
Present.
Mr. Oscar Lopez? He did call that he was not gonna be able to attend today. Ms. Eva Montoya?
Present.
Mr. George Gonzalez?
Present.
Sir, you have the quorum.
Thank you. Citizen comments, no citizens present at the moment. We'll leave the comments open for the duration of the meeting. Item number 4, discussion with possible action on letter from Capstone Management referencing the Hamilton's insufficient operating funds and any other matters thereto.
So, and I don't know if you wanna open up both items so we can discuss both items.
Item number 5, discussion with possible action on the board's request to the city in regards to legal, financial, administrative, and/or management assistance and any other matters thereto.
So as most of you have been aware, we did present you a letter that I received from Capstone Management stating that, kind of a demand letter stating that if we did not, or the board did not provide additional funds to pay the X amount of invoices, I think it's somewhere in the amount of 127,000, that they would no longer be able to operate. And they were basically exercising their termination clause, and giving you all 30-day notice. I believe they're saying pursuant to their management agreement, section 3.02, and basically they would terminate services as of August 31st. They were expecting a response from the board by the 10th. Now, I know there's been some subsequent emails after that. I have met with city management team, which included our legal department and some of our finance team also, to basically discuss with them and present to the board, what the city could assist if, and I know because the board has requested assistance from the city in the past. So I know I am in receipt of the letter from the board president, Mr. Zuniga, requesting assistance from the city. So I will forward this to our legal department. And I know right now on WebEx is a virtual call is Mr. David Arredondo, also representing our legal team, to assure the board that the city is willing and able to step in and assist. What these next steps would be again discussions between the board and our legal team. I know in some discussions with our legal department and our city manager, we are committed to assist the board in ensuring that this affordable housing complex is not closed and we can continue operations, but that might require, in the transition period of finding another management team or the city stepping in, it might require the boards a little bit more, it might require a little bit more commitment from you all. And just for this transition period, we might need you all to come in for special meetings more than just once a month, because there is gonna be a lot of actions and a lot of items that we feel that the board might need to step in and let the city assist with. David, is there anything you would like to add, or do you want the board to ask any questions at this point?
No, I think you've pretty much covered it. We've done some research. We're pretty confident that we're legally allowed to, use city resources as far as funding to help out. And so that's kind of what we're here to do.
Can I interject? And David, thank you for being on the call with us. For the longest time, we've been asking the city if the city would eventually take over this property because of the resources that you all have and the expertise that you all have. And I know there's been discussions about that. Now that we've had this impasse with the management company, it looks like we're being forced to ask the city to help us so that, because we do support the elderly and we want to make sure that this project continues and we don't affect them. But we do need the financing, and that's the intent of the letter from our president here, asking the city to help us with funds to pay our vendors so that we don't get any liens slapped on the building and that we continue to operate. And, we really need legal to help us look at a new contract with a new management company. We're gonna talk to several to see what they can propose, and we don't have the expertise to do that, so we'd like for the city to look at that, to make sure that there are no loopholes. The older contract with Capstone is since 2001, so it's old and outdated, and we don't wanna end up in that same position. So we ask you guys to help us with that if you could, so that we start off on the right foot with a new management company, while the city helps us with the invoicing and with the actual running of the facility while we grow a new management company.
Absolutely. Once we have somebody lined up, we can definitely take a look at the documents beforehand to make sure that the current one is a little bit one-sided in Capstone's favor. I'd like to have something that's kind of more neutral or protects the operation a little bit better.
Right.
We will also be able to assist you with the next steps, aside from ensuring that Capstone is able to transition everything properly. So I don't know if I want to start off with, in an email dated, August 9th, so Renata Quintana, which I believe is the regional vice president of Capstone, is advising that in order to transition, she would require some, answers to some questions. And I provided some responses if you all want to go item by item, if you want to read them. And more importantly, she's asking who will be the contact person in the transition. So I'm recommending that it be the City of Laredo Municipal Housing Division, 5511 Thomas Avenue, Laredo, Texas, and then their phone number. She's requesting, she's letting us know that she's gonna be sending out an email to our residents knowing this new contact. But I'm also gonna state to her that I wanna see that notice before it is sent out. Because in the past, we've seen that she sends out notices and they are not delivering the message that the board wants. So I would really, this is, I forwarded you all this email, you can respond or you can ask me to respond, but I think really, if you all forward this email with any additional notes, it would really, I think, have a little bit more weight with them. But we do need to see that notice. I'm very wary of the notices she puts out or Capstone puts out without us reading it first. Again, any notices should come to the board at this point for you all to review. I can assist you in reviewing that. I would also want an inventory of all the items that Capstone has been purchasing with Hamilton Hotel funds, office supplies, office furnishings, computers. I believe these items should not be removed from the premises if they're no longer, David, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, anything that's been purchased with the Hamilton fund should stay at the Hamilton. So I would.
If it's Hamilton funds, it's Hamilton properties.
Right.
So.
The same thing with keys or anything having to do with, if they're gonna leave, they need to
Correct.
cut clean and leave and.
Any agreements that they have with third-party vendors, anything, they need to really give us a detail of what's going on. So even maybe having a smaller meeting with them, in the next maybe next week would be beneficial so that they understand, and it's just, we send it in an email and then we show up and tell them that this is what we need. I hope it doesn't come to this, but our legal department is ready to send a legal letter if we don't get the proper response. The other item that is very important, she doesn't mention it here, I would also request her to give us the financial institution, where are they banking, where is your revenues going, where are the Hamilton housing revenues being credited to, and at this point submit to us a signatory change. So we need to know who was the signatory, And it is the cleanest transition would be for them to identify, hopefully it's a local financial institution, and you all can just switch over to signatory. If not, then I would recommend that the board open a new banking account, because the way it stands right now, you have an account under the Laredo Housing Finance Corporation, but in order for you to receive payments and make payments on behalf of the Hamilton partnership, you need a separate account, and I think that would keep it a little bit more clean. There is also, just to let you know, we do have a payment of $35,000 that was gonna be made on behalf of 100 residents that receive tenant-based rental assistance. I have held that payment due to some legal counsel that we received. I do not want to submit it to an agency that's already, basically cannot secure that these tenants will not be evicted. So I'd rather give it to the board, but I cannot give it to the board under the way the bank is set up right now.
Okay.
So I don't know, it's easy to open.
My biggest concern is they're collecting the rents and whatever, they're gonna be the 31st. What's gonna happen, I mean, they have the signing authority on that bank, we don't. We can't sign on that account or whatever, so we need to.
Or we can transfer?
We need to, well,
Right.
we'd have to open up another account at that same bank and get new signers and take something to that bank saying, these people are out now, these are the new signers. We just need to make it clean so that we don't stop receiving money, and we know where the money is, and we have access to the money.
So as we understand, I'm sorry, you got a question?
David, can we open an account meanwhile, maybe as Hamilton transitional account, so that we can put those funds meanwhile in there until we establish a new relationship with a new management company?
Yeah, absolutely. You all run within your authority and your rights to do that. I'd say you have a cutoff date, and then anything that the corporate chooses being passed should go into a different account so that you all know, this is pre-termination, this is post-termination.
And as I understand, and based on what we've seen in the trends, most of the tenants right now pay through
ACH?
Western Union.
No, Western Union. They go and do Western Union, or they do money orders. Now, money orders, they usually have a grace period. I know they, since they're elderly, they get their checks. I wanna say they had a 5 or 10 day grace period.
It's a 5-day.
I think it might be a 5-day grace period. So of course, we will be ready even on the 31st of this month to be there to start receiving any of these money orders.
I think we need to get a letter to the elderly and go visit the elderly and tell them, they're out, you're gonna pay us now, this is what we're gonna do, and you guys take hold of all that money that comes in so that we don't lose control.
So that's the other thing that we might need to request.
doors to bring the checks here.
You might need to request that we get a detailed of who's late, who's behind, and, because we don't know if they got everyone's payment this month.
If they're current, who's current and who's
Yes.
not.
Now, one very important thing is in reference to this, they use a software. They have a subscription for a software, the RealPage, where they have their accounting system, probably the miscellaneous receivable system, the individual accounts. And you would need to request Capstone for access to that system, and then provide us access to the system, because we're going to be most probably continue using it, which is then going to transfer over if Prospera
management
to the new
Do
management.
we own that software? We pay for it, no?
Yeah, we're paying for the
We're paying for
subscription. I
it.
mean,
So
you ought to
we
pay
ought to
for
put that in a letter to them and say, hey, we need you to.
So I think aside from this one,
Mhm.
what she's asking, we'll answer
Not
the
bad.
questions and add
Yes.
to it. So add that we want access to the RealPage, add that we want access, I want financial
Copies of
institution.
the financial
You want, yeah.
institution, monthly.
And a listing of who's current and who's not current on rents.
It's like when you sell the property, you have to give them keys and.
We need to turn everything over to you all.
And we would like to access as soon as possible, because we've never used that software, so
We have to learn it.
we would need to go over there and, you know, learn it.
Learn
and
it.
How about, do they have
have some
deposits
training.
on the units?
Yes, they should.
So who keeps it, they need to give us back the deposits on every
Because
unit?
it should all be in the bank account, or how much is in the bank account.
Yeah.
That's something else that we don't.
We will ask them for the
Yeah,
last 6
we will.
months on copies of the bank statements,
Yes, 6 months.
at least, so we can see what.
At least, yeah.
From January to now, all the bank statements for the Hamilton, so that we can see what has transpired, because I have no idea what
I
they have done.
Yeah, we don't have to wait till August
No, no,
thirty-first to send
I'm
the
saying-
No, we can do that.
tenants a
We
letter
can already go
stating
for it.
them that, you know, hey, this is a transition and it's effective, you know, September 1st. Contact, you know, the new management.
Well, you guys are gonna have
The
somebody
city
there
to
that, to help us, right? So we'll have staff, whoever you put there, and staff, to know what to tell them and help us with this transition.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a lot of work at the beginning.
yeah.
And we need to be available as well, so
Into it.
we need to be available as well.
No.
that's
So
a big
what I'll
discussion.
do is, I wanna, after we send them, you know, this, next week, I want to have maybe like a site visit and show up. So maybe, remember, as long as it's 1 or 2 board members, not 3 board members, because then it's like a quorum,
Just
but
let
as long as
us
it's
know and
2.
we'll alternate.
Yeah, and y'all can alternate, maybe show up with us, and that way we start, just seeing that transition and seeing what condition. Now, just to advise you, we went and did a walkthrough of some of the, there's 22 or 20 units
There's 22 units.
that are vacant and unrepaired. So it's not what's being reported, there's actually more, there's 22. So what we'll start doing also is we're gonna do assessments of those units to see, because that was one of the main
Yeah,
concerns.
they had told us it was
of many.
9.
So there's 22, so what we're gonna do is we'll do an assessment, and maybe that's also what we, apart from the invoices, we have to fix them.
Maybe a visual inventory or, you know.
Yeah, taking pictures, at least showing up and taking pictures of what's there. Okay, so, I mean, again, I would just motion for officially that you're requesting the assistance, from legal, financial, and administrative assistance from the city of Laredo.
I make a motion that we request that from the city,
In addition to the comments that we made.
in addition to everything else that we discussed that we're gonna need
He gave
from
me
here.
the outflow.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Jorge Gonzalez, second by Ms. Montoya. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Everybody against, motion carries.
David, do we require another motion, or do you think that motion is, clear enough for us to proceed? There's also a letter that they signed that I'll officially give to, the city.
No, that should be fine.
Just make sure you add a deadline to their answers and responses, the way, you know.
That's what I was gonna say, how much do you want, so they're asking me a
They're not
question.
giving us,
I'm gonna say, 25 days.
Well, in the next, the next week?
yeah, like, you're not giving us like a lot of flexibility either
I'll
on
be
their
by
demands.
business.
Okay. No, 5 business days for them to give us this,
To give us all the
start
info.
giving access to start, like, she's already asking us, and she's already telling us that they're working on the transition, so, okay, apart from the transition, they didn't make mention to the,
Because the thing is, we're gonna have to go in probably at the very least a week before that.
Right.
no, we can go in, I mean, they're already telling us they're
Yeah.
transitioning.
No, yeah, this is just for the.
Next Friday is the 18th, give them until the 18th, and then you still have 12 days left before the end of the month.
David, should the board, I guess, provide a response, because I guess everything started with their letter,
Their demand letter for the month.
yeah, so should we,
August
should we, I guess I'll talk to, legal and present something on what should be the response from the board to Capstone, from that letter.
Do we tell them that we're officially accepting
Accepting these conditions, or these,
their resignation?
yeah, and with these requirements, or something.
Because the last thing we want is them
They wanna
saying,
give us an information, like, no.
Oh, there's legal action that can
we
be
can do a
done.
breach of contract.
Yes. Yeah, there's legal action that can be
Freeze
done.
their account.
Correct.
Yeah, we don't
They
wanna,
can subpoena and they freeze their account, and they can't deposit.
Only one
all
account, all of their accounts.
yeah.
All of their accounts.
So, we'll work on the next steps and we'll present to you something that, will be provided to them. And then to ensure that we have access to everything that is needed. If not, we'll, to proceed with legal action.
I think the other important thing is the vendors, to contact the vendors
Yes.
from you guys.
Yes, we'll start with.
Get all the invoices, find out if they had contracts. They may have done contracts with them to see.
Mhm.
where
Any
we're at with it.
subscriptions or any contracts that are outstanding.
So we have no surprises, and so that we can start paying them, see how we pay
Yeah, we're
them
gonna be requesting copies of all
and
of them.
everything.
Yes.
And who signed, who authorized, who requested the service?
Yeah, and
And why
like,
so many in one day? There's like 10 visits from the plumber in one day, or 12.
and so we need to get with the residents also, so that they don't call the plumbers themselves
Yes.
and
No,
set up all the other
so,
things. Otherwise,
I mean, they can call, but as long as they know
That they're
the
gonna pay.
vendors that, anything that.
If they call, it's on-
Call it
it's on
on
them.
them.
It's
So
on
they
them.
wanna service
Made by
them,
them.
Oh.
Managing company.
because of
Yeah.
their land, their
Yes,
tenants.
Maybe we can use our own vendors with the city contracts, or it's not allowed, or it wouldn't be allowed.
David, after, in this transition period, I believe we are allowed to use city vendors and city, resources, right?
Contracts.
As part of the financial assistance that can be provided to the board?
I'm trying to double check on that. I know we're pretty solid on providing, just like the funding for it. And it may even be easier for them to do it on their own, because it wouldn't have to go through the whole city procurement process.
Yes.
No, I got a question. Yeah.
To double check on that, if we can use, like, guys that we're already using to add to that.
then you guys keep track of how much is being spent.
Yeah, we might have to enter into a separate, but we're not tied, so the board is not tied to the procurement process that the city follows. So, and acting as representatives of the board, we can help maybe, yes, I think we can work through that. Yeah, and we'll discuss it with legal just to make sure everything is, in the up and up.
We're gonna need the finance director or the assistant director to be able to handle the actual cash in the bank account, because we won't be able to
We'll
handle that.
we'll discuss that, yeah, we'll discuss that, that's more, internal mechanics, yeah, we'll determine how we can set up a little process for that, okay.
I think you have next steps of what you guys are gonna look for and what we're gonna have to do
Yes.
to help.
So the city they're gonna help us fund the wheel, Reno, or not?
So.
We're asking for that support.
Yes, so first we want to verify that all these invoices are legitimate invoices. We'll hopefully get you on a payment plan that we'll try to work out. Of course, we first want to see how much revenue is coming on a monthly basis, how much can you all handle on a monthly basis, and how much would be needed to be subsidized by the city. So all that needs to be looked at really carefully, because I don't think the board was receiving a true picture.
We didn't have
of what
the
was-
22 years left.
But just,
In
I
the
mean,
last meeting, they told us it was 9.
so, I mean, the first financial assistance you all are receiving is the assistance from staff. So the assistance from staff is actually financial assistance, because you will not be incurring the
expense,
payroll.
right.
We won't be charging you per se. We're gonna keep track of how much payroll is being taken by this transition, but we will not be charging. So off the bat,
So
that is gonna be,
It's financial
that's gonna be your monthly, yes. So on a monthly basis, the savings on the payroll side will allow you to possibly
Make some.
make some changes, the renovations that are required, make some payments, and kind of start seeing a true picture. The other one I continue not to agree with is their documentation of the HUD, the loan payment. You do have right now, a debt service payment. And I did reach out to HUD, the other day to see what their payment was, or how much your balance was. And they gave me a monthly payment that is not being reflected here.
It's less or more?
Yes, less. So we need to also make sure, I'm gonna have to request from HUD a true test,
statement of
so are they
history.
behind, are they not
Yeah,
paying, have they been
yeah,
paying
history.
monthly? I'm sure if they were paying, we would have gotten already a call or something.
No, and if they were paying monthly and it was less, then what happened
Until
with
the money, yeah.
the difference on
They
the
would be
money?
reflecting just more on their expenses.
Right.
Yeah, and find out if we're current with HUD and
Yes.
what's been paid and
So I think
how much
that's,
it is monthly, and then,
so find out why that's different,
different.
why is that being reflected differently? So so we still need to see a true picture of what's coming in, of what revenues are coming in and what expenses are required for your, operations. And then from there, we can see how much is actually needed to subsidize, or maybe you're
Is there a
sustainable.
big difference in the payments?
Yes, it was that double payment. They did mention in one of the, it's because they didn't send us a payment,
is it 45?
they said 45 was
45,000.
your debt, service, but yet HUD told me it was 24,000.
Right.
So,
So if we paid in advance, maybe we can hold payments for, until we finish paying whatever.
Hopefully that's the case.
Well, they reflected 45,000 in one of the months, so maybe they just reported twice.
Yeah.
You know, the previous one and the new one.
Correct.
And then they're
And
taking
the
that as
second
a
month.
snapshot.
Yeah.
And that's not a true snapshot of what's being expensed.
Right. But if that's the case, then we shouldn't have problems with money, if they just,
That is,
but then again, well,
Well, so-
once we get the financials, we'll look at.
the second insurance, I know that the property insurance is paid for because the renewal's coming up next month. But the other one, they were supposed to pay it in June. I want to make sure that they did pay.
the other one that you mentioned is the which one?
General liability
General.
and the umbrella. I'll give you the copies.
Yeah,
That was in June, and I remember seeing emails from the insurance company saying, hey, we need to get paid. So I don't know what Capstone did or did not do. That's very important.
and then this one is
The property.
property, okay.
Right. That was coming up for renewal next month.
Okay.
So after August 31st, the letter states that Sarah and this gentleman is gonna move to a different
Okay.
property location. How many more staff members do we have, and what's gonna happen to them?
That I don't know, so I'm gonna include that in the email, requesting, clarification on that, but, just letting them know that we do not require any employees to stay. So they will have to advise their employees that if they're not transitioning to other unit, they're no longer.
No longer employed.
Yes, they're no longer employed in this. Yeah,
Okay.
we will not require
The
their.
plans.
Anything else that I'm missing? And just again, there's gonna be some emails to the board back and forth for more information. Feel free to call us, get clarification. Humberto and Marcela, of course, are always available, so is, Ms. Jenny. So we're all available to answer and assist in the transition, and I know we'll be reaching out to you all and.
And I'm sure that other things will come up as we're talking to the new management companies and they ask us for stuff
Yes.
from Capstone, that they'll be able to tell us, hey, there's a problem here, or there's not a problem here, or stuff that they see.
Yes, correct. Yeah, no, they'll be able to give us a good assessment. I'm also, if one of you wants to join me on Monday, I wanna call, Ronnie Gianni Capital, and just kind of inform him of this transition period, and see, again, the only commitment you all have with him is that we did pay for the assessment, which is still a tool that we can use.
Right.
So, I'll follow up with him on where that assessment tool is, or that assessment is, and, so that we can review it. Maybe that gives us a clearer picture also of what renovations and what items have to be addressed in the facility. But we will definitely also keep him kind of updated. I mean, we don't want him to lose, lose interest. We still want to entertain, all possibilities of this. The city is very committed to, again, like I mentioned, that we remain an affordable housing unit. We see the benefit of having a board. We see the benefit of having this type of agreement. I know right now it's gonna require a little bit more work, but I think in the long run, it will remain an affordable, facility for our much needed community.
And just to clarify, because in the beginning I said that we've been talking forever and for a long time with the city, whatever. We have been discussing it with you all, and you all have been very helpful while we try to see if there was a way for the city to help us and continue the project. So I don't want it to sound like the city never helped us. You continue to help us or whatever, and we appreciate your help in trying to resolve this impasse that we're at with the management company.
Yes. And we've looked at different options, and I know the
We
city
talked
has,
about it.
has presented different options to the board. We feel right now that this might be the best option for all parties involved.
Right.
Yes.
Any comments, anything else?
Good job.
If not, motion to adjourn?
So,
Sorry, close customer comments before that. We have a motion to adjourn and a second. Is that in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
David?